What's up, sisters? It's your boy Beef, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're cooking up one of the wildest magic builds that you can run in modded Baldur's Gate 3. This is the pure Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. No swords, no gimmicks, just raw psionic power tearing up the battlefield. We'll be throwing out insane psychic burst damage, locking down entire groups of enemies, and doing it all with just the power of our minds. Plus, we get a Beholder companion, so that's pretty cool too. It's the kind of build that makes you feel like you're not even playing fair anymore, like reality itself is just a suggestion, and we're the ones writing the rules. So if you're ready to melt some minds and get all gigabrain on the ne'er-do-wells of Faerun, let's get straight on into it. For this character build, I've decided to go with a Githyanki for our racial choice. Githyanki have innate predispositions for psionics, so I think this is a good thematic racial choice for us. If you want to pick another race, I recommend human, a little bit boring, but it'll give us access to shield proficiency so that we can get a little bit extra armor class in our offhand. But you could do well with basically any race that you wanted to choose here. Gnome would also be pretty fun. This build is a pure sorcerer all the way to modded level 20 with absolutely zero multiclassing. You could multiclass if you want, but I felt that we would get only more powerful with our magical capabilities by pushing as far into sorcerer as we can. I originally tried to mix in some other martial class so that we could use Shadowblade a little bit more effectively, but I felt like it just diluted the build's strengths too much and spread our abilities too thin. So at level 1, we're choosing the sorcerer class and pretty much never changing. For our cantrips, I've decided to go with the Friends spell, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, and also Light. Our subclass is going to give us the Mind Sliver cantrip for free, so that's going to be our primary damaging option, at least in the very early levels. For our spells, I'm going to be taking Mage Armor and Shield so that we have some defensive utility in the early game as a very squishy character who doesn't like getting hit pretty much at all. And for our subclass, we're taking the Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. This subclass is available through a mod created by Halves Glimped and is pretty spot on for its recreation of the subclass from D&D 5th edition. Like I mentioned before, this subclass starts us off with the Mind Sliver cantrip, which will do 1d6 psychic damage and inflicts a minus 1d4 penalty to the target's next saving throw. We'll also get access to Arms of Hadar and also Dissonant Whispers, which are two pretty good spells. Dissonant Whispers is going to be our main use here, while Arms of Hadar is mostly kind of right around you, so you're not going to be that close to your enemies most of the time. Dissonant Whispers is going to be our main spell at this point. Psionic Spells is our subclass feature, which basically just gives us our additional subclass spells, and at level 6 will allow us to cast these spells specifically with only sorcerer points. No spell slots needed. Illithid Hunger, on the other hand, makes it so that whenever we land a critical hit, enemies must pass a wisdom saving throw or become frightened. It's basically the Mortal Reminder passive from the Great Old One Warlock, but for our character instead. For our ability scores, we want to focus primarily on Charisma and Dexterity. As a sorcerer, our primary spellcasting stat is going to be Charisma, and Dexterity is great for our armor class and initiative bonuses since we're going to be very squishy. So I've set each of these scores to an even of 16. I've also set our Constitution to 14, since as a sorcerer, we do also have proficiency with Constitution saving throws. I've chosen a Wisdom score of 12 for saving throw bonuses, and decided to dump both of our Strength and Intelligence scores at an 8. You'd think that as an Aberrant Mind, we'd focus primarily on Intelligence, but we're not a wizard, we're a sorcerer, so Charisma is going to be our main stat there. At level 2, we learn our first meta magic option, and also get access to a new spell. For that spell, I'm going to take Magic Missile, since it's just so incredibly useful to have. And for our meta magic, I'm going to go for Twin Spell and also Distant Spell. At level 3, we learn second level spells, including both Calm Emotions and Detect Thoughts through our subclass. For our chosen spell, I'm going to go with Misty Step so that we have some really fantastic movement options. And for our meta magic, I'm going to go with Quicken Spell so that we have some crazy bonus action burst damage available to us at the cost of some sorcery points. At level 4, we get a new cantrip, a spell, and also a feat. For our cantrip, I'm going to take Bursting Sinew, mostly because I can, and it's the new cantrip in patch 8, and I wanted to take it. For our spell, we're going to grab Hold Person as a fantastic crowd control option. And for our first feat, I'm going to take an ability score improvement for 2 more points into Charisma, since it's our spellcasting ability. At level 5, we get access to some 3rd level spells, including both Hunger of Hadar and also the Fear spell, two of my absolute favorite spells in the game. For our chosen spell, we can go with a number of different options here. Counterspell is pretty much always good, Haste is always a fantastic option, as well as Hypnotic Pattern, Sleet Storm is always a good choice, but the one that I'm actually going to go with here is Slow, which is a super underrated crowd control spell that can reduce enemy movement speed, cut their armor class and dexterity saves by 2, and remove their ability to take both reactions, bonus actions, and actions in the same turn. They're basically limited to one of them. At level 6, we get access to some subclass features and a new spell. Psionic Sorcery, like before, allows us to spend sorcerer points on our subclass spells instead of spell slots, while Psychic Defenses, on the other hand, gives us resistance to psychic damage and advantage on being charmed or frightened. For our new spell, Counterspell is going to be my pick because it is really just that useful to have. At level 7, we get access to 4th level spells, including Avard's Black Tentacles and Summon Beholderkin, which allows us to summon our Beholder Companion, which can shoot eye rays for insane psychic damage. For our 4th level spell options, we have some cool choices available to us here, like Confusion, Wall of Fire, or even greater invisibility, but the one that I'm going to go for is from Mistress Spells called Ralathim's Psychic Lance. Right here, it will do 7d6 psychic damage and physically attack the target's mind, incapacitating them. When a target is incapacitated, it'll make them unable to do pretty much anything as long as they're still incapacitated, which will last for 1 turn under this spell. At level 8, we're going to learn a new spell and also pick another feat. For our spell, I'm going to go with an old 3rd level option, specifically Haste. And for our feat, I'm going with another ability score improvement to bring our Charisma to an even score of 20. At level 9, we get access to our 5th level spells, including both Dominate Person and Telekinesis through our subclass. For our chosen spell, we're going to take another option from the Mistress Spells mod called Synaptic Strike. This is kind of like our Psychic Fireball, dealing 8d6 psychic damage in a very large area of effect, inflicting a -1d6 penalty to targets' attack rolls, ability checks, and constitution saving throws, which is an insanely massive debuff in addition to major psychic damage. At level 10, we get another cantrip, a spell, and some more meta magic. For our cantrip, we'll take pretty much whatever we want. I'm going to take True Strike. For our spells, I'm going to choose Hold Monster as another really fantastic crowd control option. And for our meta magic, we're going to go for Heightened Spell. We have a lot of save or suck spells, so this is great for giving our enemies disadvantage on the save against them. If we're going up against a bunch of enemies that have really good wisdom saves or really good dex saves or whatever we want, we can use this to go ahead and just make our spells much more likely to succeed and do maximum damage or have maximum effect. At level 11, we get a really cool new subclass feature called Revelation in Flesh. This basically allows us to spend 3 sorcery points, one at a time, to get access to some really good buffs. With the first one, our eyes turn black, we get dark vision, and we can see invisible creatures. On the second one, we gain flying speed and the ability to fly, making us immune to difficult terrain. And on the third one, we make our bodies slimy and pliable, making ourselves able to move through very small openings and escape non-magical restraints, and we also can't be pushed or thrown. 3 sorcery points for some very powerful buffs, so that we don't have to worry about using gear to get the same effect. Really awesome. We're also going to get access to 6th level spells, and the one that I'm going to go for is one more spell from Mistress Spells called Psychic Crush. This is a big psychic damage nuke that will deal 12d6 psychic damage to an enemy and then incapacitate them for 10 turns so they can't do a damn thing except stand there dazed. We can also twin spell this to do it to 2 enemies. It'll cost us 6 sorcery points, but it does a lot of damage and will incapacitate 2 enemies for 10 turns, which is really awesome. At level 12, we're going to pick up a new spell and also a feat. For our spell, I'm going to grab Eye Bite so that we have some extra combat utility options. And for our feat, I'm going to grab the Warcaster feat so that we have advantage on concentration checks so that we can maintain them much more reliably. At level 13, we're going to pick up a new spell, and my choice is to go with Globe of Invulnerability. Not much else we get at level 13, so we'll move on to level 14. Where at level 14, we're not going to get much besides some more HP and a few extra sorcery points. At level 15, we get another subclass feature called Warping Implosion. This allows us to teleport elsewhere like Misty Step, dealing 3d10 force damage in a 9-meter radius from the spot that we left behind, pulling enemies towards the center. This is great for teleporting away and then quickening a big AoE for lots and lots of damage so that we can ensure our enemies will be right near each other within that area of effect. For our new spell, I'm going to scroll down and take Mirror Image since we don't have it yet and it's a fantastic defensive utility option. At level 16, we get to choose a new feat, and my pick here is going to be another ability score improvement for 2 more points into our dexterity score so that we have a little bit better armor class and also an initiative bonus. At level 17, we get another spell and also another meta magic choice. For our spell, we can grab pretty much whatever we want. I'm going to take Chain Lightning just because it's absolutely so hard to beat. And for meta magic, I'm going to take Extended Spell because it's a really good option for us. At level 18, we don't really get that much. At level 19, we pick up one last feat for our character, and I'm actually going to take the Dual Wielder feat so that we can hold 2 staves in our hands for extra bonuses in addition to getting a +1 armor class bonus. You could just use a shield instead if you're playing your character as a human or another race that has shield proficiencies, and take an ability score improvement for 2 more points into dexterity, or take the alert feat, or literally whatever else you want, but this is my choice for my build so that we can get some extra spell attack bonuses. And finally, at level 20, we get access to Sorceress Restoration, allowing us to regain 4 sorcery points on a short rest, which is pretty good. That's all for the leveling of this character, so let's take a moment to go over which gear and equipment makes this Psionic Sorcerer even more powerful. So for our character's equipment, we're going to want to focus on a few different things, specifically psychic damage because we are an Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, as well as our cantrip damage and also spell save DC. For that reason, I'm using the Hood of the Weave for our helmet. You could use any helmet that you wanted here. You could even use Birthright for some extra charisma points, but I find that having a +2 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls is a little bit stronger than having a +2 bonus to our charisma, which is effectively a +1 bonus to each of those abilities. For our cloak, I'm using the Cloak of Protection for a +1 bonus to our armor class and also saving throws. And for our robe, I'm using the Potent Robe. Our cantrips will deal additional damage equal to our charisma modifier. We'll also be able to generate temporary hit points at the beginning of our turn equal to our charisma modifier to mitigate a little bit of incoming damage, and also get a +1 bonus to our armor class, which is really nice. For our gloves, I'm using the Brain Drain gloves. When you deal psychic damage, you also inflict mental fatigue for 2 turns. We're pretty much always going to be dealing psychic damage, so we're going to be dealing mental fatigue all the time. Mental fatigue will inflict our enemies with a -1 penalty to wisdom, intelligence, and charisma saving throws for every turn remaining. That means with a 2-turn affliction on this, they'll have a -2 penalty to each of those stats, and every time we deal psychic damage afterwards, it will continue to add up for us. When it fails a wisdom, intelligence, or charisma saving throw while having 5 or more turns of this condition remaining, the entity will take an additional 1d4 psychic damage and is no longer mentally fatigued. It'll just give us some extra psychic damage, which is really cool, but otherwise the main bonus we're going to get here is the penalty to their saving throws. For our boots, I'm using the evasive shoes so that we can get a +1 bonus to acrobatics and armor class. Once we have access to our Revelation in Flesh abilities, we're not going to really be worried about difficult terrain or anything like that, so we can go with this for some extra armor class bonuses. For our amulet, I'm using the Amulet of the Devout. This is a cleric amulet, but we're not going to use the channel divinity aspect of it. We're mostly going to focus on the +2 bonus to spell save DC because that's a big bonus for ourselves. We're also using the Ring of Mental Inhibition. When a foe fails a saving throw against one of your spells or actions, they gain mental fatigue for 2 turns. This means that when an enemy fails a saving throw against one of our psychic damage spells, they're going to get 4 turns of mental fatigue, which is going to be really awesome and make it much more likely that our spells succeed otherwise. We're also going to use the Band of the Ascendant Spellcaster, which is available through one of Graphic Fade's mods, the Sorcerer Equipment mod. This one is really awesome because, once again, it will give us an extra +2 bonus to our spell attack rolls and spell save DC, which means we're going to have an incredibly high spell save DC. As you can see here on our character sheet, it is a +29. Taking into account all of the mental fatigue that we're going to be dealing out, enemies are pretty much always going to be struck by our abilities, which is really awesome. For our staves, since I'm using Dual Wielder, we have 2 of them. First, I'm using the Staff of Spell Power, which gives us another +1 bonus to our spell save DC and spell attack rolls, and gives us access to Arcane Battery, allowing us to alleviate the arcane burden of spell casting with the power of this staff. The next spell you cast doesn't cast a spell slot. My favorite option here is to turn it on and then use it for our Summon Beholderkin. Call forth a Beholderkin that can cast Eye Ray. It has a starting health of 40 hit points, which is pretty low, but we can increase it by 10 for each spell level above the 4th. What this means for us is that we can go ahead and upcast it to the 9th level, since we have access to 9th level spells, and get a free 9th level cast of it, increasing our Beholderkin's health to 90 hit points. Really cool, and also giving it some extra armor class, bringing it up to 20, which in the end will make our Beholder quite powerful. For our second staff, I have Woe, which you get from Cazador. It has a +1 bonus to spell save DC and attack rolls. Once again, pretty awesome. When the creatures affected by your spells fail any associated saving throws, you gain 1d4 hit points. They're always going to be failing our saving throws, so we're going to be regenerating a lot of health, which is really awesome since we're still pretty squishy. But at the end of the day, after we use Mage Armor, which I will do here, we're now going to have an armor class of 21, which is pretty cool. We're going to have a 10 base, a +3 from Mage Armor, +4 from Dexterity, +1 from the Cloak of Protection and the Evasive Shoes and our Potent Robe, and also +1 from being able to hold 2 staffs, which is pretty cool. So now, just because we can, I'm going to go ahead and summon in our Beholderkin. Let's go ahead and activate the Arcane Battery, and then we can activate Summon Beholderkin and upcast it to the 9th level. Go ahead and baba boom, baba boom. We've got ourselves a Beholder companion here. He's got 90 health. He doesn't have a profile picture. That's okay. They don't really have them. Whatever. He's got 90 health. He can shoot an Eye Ray, which is really cool. He does 1d8 plus 12 psychic damage at this level. And he can also shoot 4 of them. So he can do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's basically Psychic Eldritch Blast. It's pretty sweet. If we look at him, he's got an armor class of 20, strength of 16, constitution of 15, and then some, some pretty minor abilities otherwise, but the main thing that he's got here is his Eye Ray, which does crazy damage. He can also punch an enemy with his eyes. That's not really useful for us. Eye Ray is going to be the main thing we want to do here. Now we're going to go ahead and spend our sorcery points on our Revelation in Flesh to get ourselves some buffs. Aberrant Scrutiny, your eyes turn pitch black, granting you dark vision up to 32 meters and the ability to perceive invisible creatures and objects within 18 meters. Let's do it. Boom! And now our eyes are pitch black, and we have dark vision and can see invisible enemies. Sweet! Let's do it again, but this time we'll do Aberrant Slithering. Cause your body to become slimy and pliable, allowing you to move through small openings and evade any attempt to throw or shove you. You can also spend 2 meters of movement to escape the restraints or grapples. Pretty cool. Now we're all slimy. And then we can use it one more time on Aberrant Flight to gain a flying speed of 9 meters, the ability to hover, ignoring surfaces, and the effects of difficult terrain. Pretty sweet. So now we've only got 17 sorcery points. Oh no, what a shame. We've got these crazy powerful buffs. Weehaw, that's pretty cool. You could also just trade out some of your spell slots here using the create spell slot or create sorcery point to kind of go back and forth with them. But I don't think we really need to. 17's a lot and we'll regenerate on a short rest. That's pretty much everything for our character's buffs and such. So let's get right into some combat and see just how insanely powerful this character really is. And let's go this way. Come with me, Beholderkin. You're my Beholder buddy. So first things first, I'm going to do a mirror image. And then I'm going to do something a little bit saucy. We're going to slow every single one of these enemies. We can do it to 6 of them, which is perfect. Boing, they're all slowed. We can enter turn-based mode because they haven't become hostile to us for some reason. But I don't mind, because now what we're going to do is hit them with a Synaptic Static. Big time AoE. Let's do it right here so we don't hit our Beholderkin. Our Beholder is immune to psychic damage, but we don't want to give him the downsides of the other abilities from the Synaptic Static. So let's do this. Alrighty, so we are in combat, and we're going to get things started. All of our enemies are slowed. They've also got 6 turns of mental fatigue. Sheesh! That's a lot. We're going to just quicken spell and do something crazy. What should we do? Should we do another one of these? Yeah, I think we should. They're all dead. What the hell? I don't even have the resonance stone in my inventory. What the hell? Okay. Yeah. Beholder, do your thing, right? Right there. Oh, that killed him too. Okay, that took less than one turn. Let's load that up again. We're a menace! Dennis, on Oroha Genis. Okay, so let's try this again and try not to just absolutely obliterate them. Let's start with the mirror image, and then we're gonna slow them because we can. Click, 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 click. Number 6. You're all slowed. We'll go into turn-based mode, and let's go ahead and do another one of those synaptic statics, just because it's really good. Okay. Psionic Backlash. Okay. Let's not use our bonus action here, because I want to let them do some other stuff so we can keep it going for more turns. And turn. Let's not react there. Let's counterspell the cure wounds. Ding ding ding. I don't want you to do that. All you can do is jump because you're slowed. You're coming with me. No, I'm not. Go ahead and throw your bombs. I don't care. All they can do is jump. And our Beholderkin is going to come over here. No reactions, no opportunity attacks because they're slowed. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and kill Gauntlet Edwina because I don't like her. She's dead. End our turn. It's your turn, bud. What you gonna do? Ensnared. That's okay. I don't mind being ensnared because I'm going to Warping Implosion. Choosing myself. And then we're going to teleport right over here. Look at all that damage we just did. And now let's not use our bonus action again. Let's let them figure their stuff out. Jump. That's all you can do because you're slowed. Dash. That's all you can do because you're slowed. Jump. That's all you can do because you're slowed. And jump. That's all you can do because you're slowed. Let's go ahead and come over here. Then let's kill some more guys. This guy is 1 shot from, or 2 shots from death. This guy is 2 shots from death. Let's do that. Shablagoo. Go ahead. Do it if you must. Psionic Backlash. Do what you must. Let's go ahead and... Oh, we are immobile. That's okay. Let's quicken spell and do another Ralatham Psychic Lance on this guy. That's a lot of damage. Let's end our turn. He's also incapacitated on account of the Psychic Lance. So let's go ahead and take this guy out because he's kind of pissing me off. Oh, shucks. 2 critical misses? That's unfair. I still have my, that's all he can do. Like a Backlash. Critical miss. Heck yeah, brother. How do you do that? Oh, he's not slowed. That's right. What do we do next? Let's Dissonant Whispers. This guy is, we don't even do it. You know what? We can do it. Actually, let's hit him with a Mind Sliver. That'll be good. That'll be fine. Actually, no. We're going to Psychic Lance this guy. So that we can incapacitate him. He. And then we're going to use Quicken Spell. Mind Sliver this guy, because it's only a little bit of health. Boing. End our turn. Now we got our Beholder again. Let's attack this guy. Sabloo. He's dead. End our turn. Psychic Lance, he's incapacitated. So let's go ahead and, how much health does he have? 27? Let's hit him with a nice upcasted Dissonant Whispers. He died. Cool. Okay. Even when I'm not trying that hard, we still just absolutely decimate them. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'll tell you what. And that's the build, folks. Pure, unfiltered psionic madness. If you had fun melting reality with me, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe even subscribe if you're feeling a little extra chaotic. Do you have your own spicy sorcerer ideas? Drop them in the comments. I want to hear how weird you can get with it. Thank you everybody for hanging out. I really appreciate it if you made it to this end of the video. But until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye!